Hi everyone, Andrew Wax, Wood and Leather Doctor, Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And this week, this is not a repair. This is something that I created, and I'm going to show you how I did it. What is this helicopter looking thing? Well, let's see. This is something called a Yarn Swift. My anniversary is coming up, so I thought it'd be nice to make something for a change. My wife is a very devoted knitter, and if you can remember watching TV and you've seen husbands stereotypically holding a hank of yarn in their hands while their wives wrap it around into a ball, well, this takes the place of the husband's hands. So what happens, turn it a little bit, so you've just got these two pivoting arms with adjustable dowels. And what you do is you take this hank of yarn, you spread it out over where the dowels are, and you start spinning. Now they actually make a winder, which is pretty neat, which there's just no way I'd be able to make it out of wood. I've seen it done. I am not that talented. So she's buying one of those. However, I wanted to make something. So I've seen a lot of designs, some that fold up completely, some that you can disassemble. This is based on an Amish design, and it's pretty simple. And I'm going to show you how I did it. So I hope you like it. More importantly, I hope she likes it. So let's take a look. So, like my dear father used to say, if you tickle it too much, son, it's going to laugh at you. So, I've gotten these pretty much as close as I can get, using every saw that I have and using the belt sander to, again, they're pretty close. So now we're going to worry about how do we notch them such that they're going to fit together like that, well, through it. Well, you get the idea. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to measure exactly halfway through here, and we're going to drill a hole here and notch here and here, and then the underside of this guy do the exact same thing right there, and then hopefully, because they're both going halfway, they will, well, let's see what happens. All right, so I want to measure halfway, but I want to go a little bit more shallow than halfway at first, so I want room for error, and I know there's going to be error because I've done this before, and I'm not particularly good at it, but let's see what happens. So this guy looks like 3 3/4. So let's go 1.5. Let's go 1.5. No, let's go 1 3/4. Let's go right here. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other guy, except I'm going to measure from the bottom. So first, try to figure out roughly where halfway is. I'm going to eyeball this, and yes, that's how I get into trouble, but I'm going to do it anyway. Alright, that looks about right. Let's see. Yeah, looks pretty good. Yep, I'll go with that. So we went, with this guy, we went from the top, we went 1.5. So here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go 1.5. Again, I know the math is wrong. I would rather be safe than sorry, and you'll see why. Yep, there we go. Now, one thing that I didn't account for, so I'm glad that this is the first one, is the diameter of the hole. This is where I wanted my end to be, but I forgot about, so you can see that. Yeah, so here. So I forgot about that this extends. So this is going to be a little bit lower or higher than what I originally intended. So I'm going to cut this notch out. Then I'm going to do the same thing to the other one, but I'm going to go a lot more shallow because I'm not feeling so good about it. And I really don't want to cut these again because this was a pain. So next thing, we go back and we cut this notch out. Okay, so used not the bandsaw, but that little table saw. I'm not sure that you saw that. Here, come on over. This little saw right here from Rockwell. Basically, this is just a jigsaw that's turned upside down and stationary. So it works kind of like the table saw, or the bandsaw rather, except it just goes up and down. It doesn't spin, and it doesn't drift, and the blade is much thicker. So for really kind of gross cuts like this, a lot easier and a lot more stable. For really fine detail stuff, this is okay, but again, that stupid blade drifts a lot. So this worked out quite well for this one, but I digress. So there's the slot. Looks pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one, but I'm doing it again a lot more shallow because I don't want to miss it and wind up having both slots too deep and they miss each other completely, and the thing doesn't hold together well. So do the other one and we'll see the finished result, because again, you don't need to see this twice, do you really? All right, so cut arms 30 inches. Okay, so to make the notches, ignore these marks because I goofed up. You can keep this mark. This is the center. This is exactly correct. So now, because we know that we want the notches to be as wide as the board, rather than measuring it, I'm just going to put that on what looks like center to me. And draw my lines. There you go. So these outside lines should make that just like that. And we want to go halfway, because we want to go, when these things meet, it's late, I'm tired, come on, you understand what I'm saying. We want to go about halfway. So that's about halfway as far as I'm concerned. And then we'll do the same thing here. Alright, so there's half. It's the thickness of the board, same board. And I'll go inside just a little bit. And then when it comes to the thickness, there's a mark. Can you see that? I hope you can see that. About halfway. All right, let's go notch them out. So you can see that that's a little less than half, and that's cool with me. So what I'm going to do is, this guy is going to go on here like this, and we're going to line it up. And as the blade spins, I'm going to run the sled over it like that, and it's going to notch everything out, and then you'll have a nice, Well, you'll see in a minute. Okay, so that was about 30 passes or so, and not bad. It's a little shallow, but I measured it that way, so that's all right. I can make the other one a little bit deeper to compensate for it. In fact, that's what I'll do. I'll just give it maybe one crank, raise the blade up a little bit more, and they'll sit very nicely together. But actually, let's see how we did with the width. Here it is. So let's see. A little bit shy. I could have used maybe one or two more passes. So before I change the depth of the blade, I'll give it just a couple more passes to notch out because it doesn't fit right just yet. Okay, so notched it out and got them to sit really, really flush. So very pleased about this. So here it is. I'm going to drill 3 holes equally spaced. I think about 2 inches, about 1.5 inches apart for the dowels, and put the whole thing together, take a look at it, show you what we came up with. So what I have now is one base here, one base here, and no, are they equal? Absolutely not. However, doesn't matter. As long as they add up to being neutral, which, come on now, don't make a liar of me. Ah, there's that. So then simply take another dowel, the hole that I drilled inside here, that goes in there like that. Then these guys go on like this. And voila, you have an honest-to-God Amish, well, Jewish in this case, but Amish yarn swift. And this will do exactly what I'd hoped it would. So sand it down a little bit more, stain it a nice color, and happy anniversary, Wendy.